Good evening, everyone. I stand before you today with a heart full of compassion for anyone who has ever carried the weight of past hurt. So many of us walk through life, often with invisible wounds, wounds that go unnoticed by others, but that leave scars on our souls. We've been betrayed, abandoned, misunderstood, and hurt in ways that only we truly know. But I want to remind you of something incredibly powerful. You are not defined by the pain you've experienced. You are not defined by the hurt others have caused you. You are not defined by your trauma. But here's the thing. Healing is not something that happens to us. Healing is something we must actively choose. And sometimes, healing begins with something that seems difficult, something we often avoid or resist. Forgiveness is often misunderstood as a way of excusing or condoning the actions of others, but in reality, it is not about justifying their behavior or pretending that the hurt didn't happen. Instead, forgiveness is a powerful, deliberate decision to release the hold that pain and resentment have on our hearts. It is a choice to stop letting the actions of others continue to control our emotional well-being. In the context of healing from past hurt, forgiveness is one of the most essential steps toward finding peace and moving forward. When we choose to forgive, we are making a conscious decision to free ourselves from the grip of anger, bitterness, and pain. These emotions, if left unchecked, have a way of occupying a permanent space in our hearts and minds, affecting everything we do. They can cloud our judgment, limit our potential, and hold us back from experiencing joy and fulfillment in our lives. When we choose to forgive, we're not allowing the hurt to define us any longer. We're choosing to reclaim our power. It's important to understand that forgiveness is not an act of weakness. It does not mean that we ignore the hurt that has been done to us or that we allow the person who wronged us to continue mistreating us. Rather, forgiveness is about accepting the reality of what has happened and choosing not to let it consume us. It's about refusing to let the pain of the past dictate how we live today. When we forgive, we are no longer carrying the burden of unresolved anger and hurt. The weight lifts, and we can begin to heal. Forgiveness is also a choice to let go of the need for justice or revenge. It's easy to get stuck in a mindset where we feel that the person who hurt us must somehow pay for their actions. But when we hold on to that desire for retribution, we end up punishing ourselves. The resentment we carry keeps us emotionally tethered to the situation, preventing us from fully moving on. By forgiving, we release that desire for revenge, which frees us from the burden of keeping score. In a way, forgiveness is an act of self-preservation, not an act of charity toward the person who hurt us. Choosing to forgive does not mean that we forget the hurt or the lesson learned from the experience. It does not erase the emotional wounds we've suffered. However, forgiveness allows us to create space for emotional healing. It is the beginning of the process of reclaiming our peace. When we forgive, we open our hearts to new possibilities and the chance to embrace the future without the shackles of the past. We allow ourselves to heal, to grow, and to experience life with a renewed sense of freedom. Forgiveness is also an essential step in breaking free from cycles of pain. Many of us carry the weight of generational hurt and trauma, passed down from our families, communities, or life experiences. We may find ourselves repeating patterns of hurt, not because we want to, but because we haven't fully addressed the emotional wounds within us. Choosing forgiveness is the first step in breaking those cycles and stopping the perpetuation of pain. It is an act of courage, and while it may feel uncomfortable or difficult at first, it is ultimately an act of empowerment. When we make the choice to forgive, we take back control of our emotional landscape. No longer do we allow the actions of others to determine how we feel or how we react. Instead, we decide that we will not be prisoners to the hurt we've experienced. We choose freedom over captivity. And in that freedom, we discover the true power of forgiveness, the power to heal, to move forward, and to embrace a life of peace and emotional wholeness. Healing is a journey, not a one-time act. When we experience hurt, particularly deep emotional pain, it can feel overwhelming. It's easy to wish for a quick fix or for the pain to disappear instantly. But the truth is that healing is not a simple process. It's not something that can be completed in a moment or even a few days. It's something that takes time and patience, and it unfolds in ways we often don't expect. The process of healing isn't linear. There will be moments when it feels like you're making great strides, and you might feel optimistic, as if you're finally free from the burden of the hurt you've been carrying. But then, without warning, the pain can resurface. Something may trigger an old memory or an emotion, and you find yourself back at square one, overwhelmed by feelings you thought you'd overcome. It's natural to feel discouraged at times like these. The setbacks can make us question whether we're really healing at all. However, the setbacks are part of the process. They do not mean that you've failed or that the pain will never go away. They simply mean that healing is a gradual and evolving journey. Healing from past hurt requires us to embrace the reality that this process is not one of perfection, but of progress. Some days, we may feel stronger, more hopeful, and able to face the future with renewed determination. Other days, we may feel fragile, vulnerable, or deeply hurt. These contrasting moments are part of what it means to heal. Each emotion, whether positive or negative, is a sign that you are processing your experience and working through the emotional turmoil that was once trapped inside. The setbacks don't undo the progress you've made. They simply remind you that healing is an ongoing journey. The key is to continue moving forward, even on the days when the road feels long or difficult. One of the most important aspects of healing is the ability to choose emotional healing, even when it feels hard. Healing doesn't happen passively. It requires an active decision to face the pain and keep choosing to work through it. Every time you decide to forgive, every time you choose to let go of past hurts, you are actively participating in your healing. Healing takes commitment and courage. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. Each small step forward is a victory, even if you can't always see it at first. One of the challenges in this journey is managing expectations. We often expect that healing should happen quickly, or that we should feel completely better after a certain point. But healing is not about achieving a perfect state of emotional health where we are immune to pain. Instead, it's about learning to live with the pain in a way that no longer controls us. It's about developing resilience, strength, and the ability to continue living a fulfilling life despite the scars of the past. As you continue on this journey, it's also important to recognize that healing is not just about moving on from the past. It's about transforming. Healing is a process of becoming a new version of yourself. Each setback, each breakthrough, and each moment of pain brings with it the opportunity for growth. As you work through your hurt, you may find that you develop greater empathy, stronger boundaries, and an increased sense of self-awareness. Healing opens doors to emotional freedom, where you no longer have to carry the weight of the past. Instead, you begin to see yourself as someone capable of moving forward, equipped with the wisdom and strength that comes from having faced your hurt head-on. In the end, Healing is not about erasing the past or pretending the hurt never happened. It's about learning how to integrate that hurt into the story of your life without letting it define you. It's about recognizing that you are not broken because of what you've experienced, but stronger because of how you've chosen to rise above it. Healing is a journey, one that requires time, patience, and the willingness to face each new day with a heart open to forgiveness and emotional restoration. Even when the path is difficult, continue choosing healing, because with each choice, you are moving closer to the peace and wholeness you deserve. Forgiveness is often misunderstood as something we do for the person who has hurt us, but in reality, forgiveness is for you, not for the other person. When someone wrongs us, it's easy to think that holding on to anger, resentment, or even a desire for revenge will make us feel better. We think that by refusing to forgive, we are somehow punishing the other person or ensuring they pay for what they've done. But the truth is, when we hold on to unforgiveness, we are only hurting ourselves. We are allowing the pain of the past to continue to control our emotions, our thoughts, and ultimately, our future. Forgiveness is not about excusing or justifying someone's actions. It is about freeing yourself from the emotional bondage that is keeping you stuck in the past. When you forgive, you are taking back control of your own life. You are making a powerful decision to stop allowing the actions of others to define your emotional well-being. When we hold on to anger, we are essentially giving someone else control over our emotions. Every time we replay the hurt, we allow the pain to take up residence in our hearts, preventing us from moving forward. Forgiveness is the decision to let go of that control and take ownership of your own peace. It's an act of self-liberation, not self-sacrifice. It's choosing your own emotional freedom over the emotional weight of holding on to the past. Forgiveness doesn't mean that you have to reconcile with the person who hurt you, nor does it mean that you have to forget what happened. It doesn't erase the hurt or make the wrong right. But it does allow you to stop carrying the burden of anger, resentment, and hurt. It frees you from the cycle of pain that keeps you anchored to the past. By forgiving, you are choosing to release the emotional hold that the person or the situation has over you, and you are choosing to move forward without being defined by the trauma you've endured. You're choosing peace, and in doing so, you're choosing healing. While forgiveness is essential to emotional healing, it is only one part of the journey. Healing also requires that we face the pain directly. True healing is not about running from the hurt or trying to forget it. It's about confronting your trauma head-on, acknowledging the pain, and allowing yourself to fully feel and process the emotions that come with it. We often try to avoid our pain, thinking that by ignoring it, we can make it disappear. But unresolved pain never truly goes away. It festers, it lingers, and it can surface in ways we don't expect, sometimes in the form of anxiety, depression, or anger. In order to heal, we must give ourselves permission to face our pain, even if it feels difficult or overwhelming. Facing pain is not an easy thing to do. It requires vulnerability and courage. When we've been hurt, it's tempting to build walls around our hearts to protect ourselves from further pain. We might try to push the hurt down, telling ourselves that we just need to move on and not dwell on it. But in order to heal, we must allow ourselves to acknowledge the hurt for what it is. We must give ourselves permission to grieve, to mourn, and to process what we've been through. Grief is not just about losing someone, it's about the loss of trust, the loss of innocence, the loss of safety, or the loss of a vision for the future that was once filled with hope. It's okay to feel angry, sad, or confused. It's okay to cry, to scream, or to sit in silence. Pain is an emotion that demands to be felt, and when we deny it, we deny ourselves the opportunity to heal. Facing pain means being honest with ourselves about what we've been through and how it has impacted us. It's about recognizing that the hurt is real and it matters. Only by facing it can we begin to understand it and, eventually, let it go. As we confront the pain, it's important to give ourselves the space and grace to process it. Healing doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't follow a strict timeline. Some days we might feel like we're making progress, and other days we may feel like we're right back where we started. But healing is not about rushing through the pain or getting over it quickly. It's about allowing ourselves to go through it at our own pace, without judgment. We must be kind to ourselves in the process and understand that healing is not about perfection. It's about progress. Ultimately, facing the pain is what allows us to move beyond it. It's through confronting our trauma that we can begin to understand how it has shaped us, how it has affected the way we see the world and the people around us. As we process and heal, we can start to rebuild stronger and wiser than before. The process is difficult, but it's necessary for true healing to take place. When we face our pain and choose to heal, we are not only letting go of the hurt, but we are also making space for new possibilities, new experiences, and a renewed sense of joy and peace. The road to heal. When we experience trauma or hurt, it can feel as if we are shattered into pieces. The weight of the emotional pain can leave us feeling broken, defeated, and vulnerable. We may question our worth, our strength, and our ability to move forward. In those moments, it's easy to believe that our brokenness defines us, that we are somehow less than we were before the pain entered our lives. But the truth is, brokenness does not have to define us. It can transform us. It can be the catalyst for growth, resilience, and strength. Healing from past hurt is not about returning to who we were before the pain. It's about becoming someone even stronger and more resilient because of the pain we've endured. When we're in the midst of hurt, it's difficult to see beyond the pain. All we feel is the weight of the loss, the betrayal, the heartbreak, and the disappointment. But as time passes and we begin the journey of healing, we start to see that our brokenness doesn't have to be permanent. It is, in fact, a starting point. It is the raw material from which we can rebuild our lives. It is a reminder that even in our weakest moments, we have the potential for transformation. Healing from past hurt is a process of self-discovery. It's about understanding that while we may have been broken by circumstances, we are not permanently damaged. In fact, our scars, both visible and invisible, tell the story of our strength. They represent the battles we've fought, the pain we've endured, and the wisdom we've gained along the way. Each scar is a testament to our ability to survive and keep moving forward. Instead of seeing brokenness as a sign of weakness, we can choose to see it as proof of our resilience. Overcoming trauma is not about erasing the pain or pretending it didn't happen. It's about acknowledging the hurt, embracing the lessons learned from the experience, and using that knowledge to build a stronger foundation for the future. The process of healing involves working through the pain, understanding its impact on our lives, and then finding the strength to rise above it. It is a journey of empowerment, where we take control of our emotional well-being and refuse to let the hurt define who we are. Brokenness, when approached with the right mindset, can be the fuel that drives us toward personal growth. It teaches us about our capacity for endurance and the importance of self-compassion. When we heal, we discover inner strength we didn't know we had. We learn to lean into our vulnerabilities, not as a weakness, but as a source of power. We realize that it's okay to be imperfect, that it's okay to have cracks and scars. In fact, it is through these cracks that light can enter, and it is through these scars that we become more compassionate, more understanding, and more connected to others. The process of healing often leads us to a deeper sense of purpose. When we are able to transform our pain into strength, we can use our experiences to help others. Our journey of healing becomes a beacon of hope for those who may be walking a similar path. Our story, once filled with hurt, becomes a testament to the possibility of overcoming adversity and rising stronger from it. By embracing our brokenness, we allow ourselves to be a source of inspiration to others who may feel that their pain has defined them. Healing also teaches us the value of self-love. After experiencing hurt, we often struggle with feelings of inadequacy or self-doubt. But as we heal, we learn to love ourselves again. We learn that our worth is not determined by the hurt we've endured, but by the strength we demonstrate in our recovery. We come to understand that we are worthy of peace, joy, and fulfillment, no matter what we've been through. In the end, brokenness does not diminish us. It has the potential to make us stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Through healing, we transform the hurt into a source of power that enables us to rise above our past and embrace a future filled with possibility. The scars we carry are not signs of weakness, but proof of our strength. We may have been broken, but in our healing, we become whole again, stronger than we ever imagined, with the power to face anything that comes our way. In conclusion, healing from past hurt is not a straightforward path, but a journey that involves facing pain, choosing forgiveness, and embracing the transformation that comes from our brokenness. While the scars of past trauma may seem like signs of weakness, they are in fact markers of resilience and strength. Our healing is a process of reclaiming our power, learning to love ourselves again, and discovering that our brokenness does not define us, but rather empowers us to rise stronger than ever. The pain we've experienced can be the catalyst for profound personal growth, allowing us to become more compassionate, more resilient, and more capable of embracing life's challenges. In the end, it is not the hurt we endure that defines us, but the strength we find in overcoming it and using it to shape a future filled with possibility.